We did this, I think, last week where we went through the squad and we tried to like just be the manager between the two of us and try and work out, who is actually getting picked. Who would you pick? What's realistic? And really, on top of that, like, what have we already seen gone by? So I think Schmeichel is the easy one in goals. I think we know that'll be the case. We expect Alistair Johnson is not going to be challenged. He's fit and firing, doesn't need rested or rotated. He probably quite safely walks back into the team. The centre backs is the area where everyone is kind of discussing and really unsure about, and we are a wee bit in the dark around as well. I think everyone is leaning towards Trusty and Scales. How do you feel at this point?
I think overall yes, but I think for this game I would play Scales. Not just to do with the game, but to do with like obviously like what we've had. Like Carter Vickers come back, he never lasted the game on Tuesday. He had to come off at 70. He wouldn't have taken him off at 70 unless he really had to, because it was still, a game that was kind of not in the balance, but it wasn't won at that point. Trusty obviously had a bit of a knock, and he's played all the minutes. He was away with America before that, etc. as well. So I think this would be a natural game where you would just rotate Scales in and just try and take some of the pressure off minutes-wise from one of the other centre-halves. And then who plays beside will depend probably who's fit. I mean, I wouldn't put Wilshere or Rocky in there. I mean, I'd rather actually just not play anybody than play Stephen Welsh. Sorry, like I was just the guy's just like honestly, like he's like just if Carter Vickers has got like one leg or whatever, just play him. Honestly, like that would do me.
I'm with you on that. I just wanted to look at the minutes and how the fixtures have panned out for Vickers. So since he's recovered from this toe injury, that we do know he was in training for around 10 days, even like there was 2 games in a row. We're like, oh, Vickers is back, maybe, probably, and he wasn't. So his return came against Motherwell on the 27th. He got 23 minutes from the bench. 3 days later, at home to Dundee, we've seen him clock 76 minutes. 3 days later against Aberdeen, 64 minutes. And then 3 days later against Leipzig, 73 minutes. So he's played, I'm not going to do the maths on that, but the thick end of 90 minutes there or more within the space of 12 days or something like that.
Yeah.
And then we've had a big recovery Tuesday to Sunday on this one. So,
and he was out for 5 weeks.
Yeah.
He was out for 5 weeks, so you remember that he needs like kind of match sharpness and all that type of stuff as well, because 5 weeks is like basically like a full pre-season or whatever. It's a long time without having an actual kind of pre-season. So he's kind of 10 days in training was a bit like a mini pre-season. But yeah, who do you think will start at left back from Valley and Taylor?
Well, do we? Are we saying Vickers doesn't make it? Just before I click away from this,
I think it'll be Scales and Vickers. I mean, I think Trusty taking the knock. It'll depend who's fit. But I think it'll be a decision depending on who's actually fit. If he looks at Trusty and Trusty's struggling with an injury, then it'll be Scales and Carter Vickers for me. So
okay,
because I think Carter Vickers is okay. So
you think he's fine?
Well, I think that's what Brendan said.
You know that?
Yeah, I get that, but the pitch thing was with his knee, wasn't it?
Fair.
So if he's got a sore toe or whatever, I don't think that type of pitch has any effect on it. That pitch has an effect on, like, if you get a problem with your knee, then it's like the impact thing, isn't it, with the surface? Yeah. So, it just depends on fitness. But I mean, if I had the choice and they were both fit, I would play Trusty and Carter Vickers. That's my answer to that.
Fair. I don't know how to delete to move past it.
No Scales. I think Scales will get rotated in. I think that honestly,
Scales, please.
I think he'll get a game.
Feeling. I think it's Scales Trusty personally. I think you keep Vickers on ice for this one, unless Trusty does have a bang, obviously, like you say. When it comes to the left back, but Valley versus Taylor, I thought Brendan Rodgers' comments in the press conference. Did you listen to the press conference today?
He's quite complimentary of Taylor, wasn't he?
It was right to the end, and it went. He never said that much about Taylor before. He's been asked questions about the contract a few times, but he really hammed it up this time, and he was like, he's such a great guy, and he plays the role so smartly, and he gives us great solutions. gives him the credit for the Leipzig game that I was giving him as well, which is great to see. So I think, like, bearing in mind the league table that I put on screen earlier, I think you put Taylor into this just to really, like, I've got the image of a snake, coiling around, strangulate, what do you call that? When a snake does that? Oh. But having that feeling, because Kilmarnock's like a wee pitch, Taylor knows it well, obviously. And that role, I know Valley does it as well, but I just feel that he could be overkill for us possession-wise. Kilmarnock won't get out their half,
I think you could play either. I mean, I think Valley's been good as well. The thing that really kind of makes me like a wee bit dubious about it was the fact that he played Valley against Aberdeen. Taylor played against Dundee, and then you thought, okay, that's Taylor back, and then he put in Valley. So in my mind, I was thinking, look, who's first choice here? Because it's a cup semi against Aberdeen. You've started Valley here. I think that he was sort of talking up Greg Taylor because he's wanted to get him on the new deal. So
I agree. There's good logic for that as well because, yeah, like in this sequence isn't the cup semi-final with Aberdeen, but they've been getting 60 and 20 on kind of rotation. One starts, one comes off. Taylor played midweek against Dundee. Valley played the weekend against Aberdeen. Taylor played midweek against Leipzig. Maybe Valley plays weekend again. So that might be that could be very easily the minute management that's happening there.
Yeah.
For sure. So Valley started 2 in a row, 3 in a row before Taylor's kind of come back. And again, I know the semi-final isn't on that page, but yeah, I think Taylor would start personally. But like you say, it could be either one of them. It's a personal preference thing. What do you think of the rumours about Valley and Barca? Barca want him back or don't want to sell him and all the rest? Do you think anything like that could play a part in this?
I don't think so. It's only November at the moment, so I think you deal with that stuff in January or the summer or whatever. Like, he's here and he's not getting recalled just now. And I think one of the Barca fans I was kind of chatting to and said, like, there'll only be a problem with Valley if he's not playing. Barca would only probably recall him if he wasn't getting games. And obviously if he wasn't getting games, you would be struggling to convince him to sign as well, if that makes sense, because how are you going to attract somebody like that young guy if he's not actually playing ahead of Greg Taylor as well? So yeah, I'm not worried about that. I think that if he's got confident enough to start him against Aberdeen, there's no reason why he can't start here. Also, Taylor's got a bit of previous for being roasted in these games as well. I mean, obviously it can be down to the position as well, but I remember that game we could beat 2-1 and all right, it was like your man at centre back, Nat Phillips and all that sort of stuff. So it was Basil Fawlty stuff and everything, but it was down that side, Armstrong, so you just don't know what's in the manager's thoughts for that point of view. But after Taylor's come back for the injury and after he's been going on that wee rotation, I would not be surprised at all if Valley starts. But I don't think it matters as much, if that makes sense, because I think they're both really good left backs. So
Ross Murphy has got his team sheet here for us. He reckons it's Valley in at left back with the same defence that we've got otherwise. Did you opt for Valley on your official prediction today?
Yeah, it wasn't really an overwhelming percentage, but I went Valley, and I think like they'll both get minutes as well. So
has the Valley rumour not been rubbished? I'm not too sure, mate. Yeah, fair enough. I just thought Taylor has been. I said it to Josh the other day, but before Taylor got injured and Valley became flavour of the month, I was on here saying Taylor's having his best season ever for Celtic. He'd been playing so well. And if Brendan is giving him this monologue in the press conference, and I don't know, I think Taylor will start. I'm going to leave Taylor on, delete Valley. Could be, it's a 50-50 for some of these, are totally up in the air. The midfield, however, but might be a little bit different. I think we all know and expect McGee starts this, no two ways about it. But it's really the other two positions then. I hear people expecting Bernardo to come in. There are suspicions McKibben gets minutes here. I don't know if anyone thinks he starts this, really. I'm of the opinion the manager keeps the same midfield, and it's about getting them reps together, and it's evolving the system that has been kind of shaped over the last few games.
Yeah, Engels and Hatate both come off early. One thing I would say is that Hatate put in a right shift.
Hatate played 90.
Did he?
Yep.
So Hatate played 90 and Engels come off at 70. Is that right?
Yeah.
Right. So I think Hatate might get rested. Just because he's been brilliant, but he put in an unbelievable shift. So if he did stay on, I thought he came off as well, but against Leipzig. But Engels definitely came off at 70, didn't he? Check the Leipzig game. It's up there, isn't it? I tried to press it.
Why I've put the Aberdeen game here is this is the first game after the last international break.
Right.
And this is what I was looking at. So straight after an international break, we've played the best three, you would say. Obviously, we know McGregor fell out with this because he got injured. But Tati Engels, 4 days later against Atalanta, start again. Both get subbed, like you mentioned. And then against Motherwell, Hatate remains. We were expecting McGregor to remain as well. But the last minute, McGregor dropping out brought Bernardo into the fold, we suspected. And then we see Hatate drop out. Engels keeps the place against Dundee. Then we've got the semi-final against Aberdeen, where it's the best three again. Hatate plays 90. And then we've got the Leipzig game where the best three play again. So I think he keeps that, personally, if he can.
I think if Hatate starts, he'll not see out the game because he put in an unbelievable shift against Leipzig, right? So, the Tuesday to Sunday thing's probably important because you've got the extra day's rest. So, I think you'll go strong in midfield, and also I think that what happens with the defence kind of key in that as well, because we know we made 6 changes against Dundee, but he'll never want to do that here, I don't think. So I think midfield wise, if there's maybe one change or whatever in the defence with Scales coming in, it'll just be McGregor, Engels and Hatate, and then Hatate will come off at 60.
That's what I think. I don't think you can start Bernardo in this because, again, you want to kill the game. You want to beat Kilmarnock. We're not going there on cruise control. We're not 10 points clear and it's 5 games to go or anything like that. Still a lot of work to be done. And I think Rodgers will go for the reps with the main three. Trying to get this system that's been evolving with McGregor and Engels developed a bit more, and really just lean into Tate's progress. And just trying to really push that development through for him, because it's reps, it's minutes, it's more success. We've seen how happy he was with getting his first Champions League goal. He's not had a great return this year for goals and assists, and confidence breeds better results, as we've seen with Nicholas Kuhn. There's a great example of that. So I think Hatate is nailed. I think McGregor doesn't get dropped, and I think again Engels, you just don't drop him either. I know we've got an international break coming up, and so far I think everyone here except McGregor is an international, except for Taylor in this upcoming window. But like you say, I think we use the squad as the game goes on. We use our subs appropriately and keep the legs fresh. That then brings us to the strikers. We've seen Kuhn in training today. I think any worries about Kuhn not playing are gone now, because he is not an international. He's definitely not going away. He's not playing football for anyone. He's got 2 weeks off. So even though he had a wee bit of ice, he missed a game. Was it the Dundee game? He missed a game because, he was just chilling out, getting massages and whatever, resting up. So I think he plays this one. No 2 ways about it. Do you agree?
Yeah, and I think with Engels as well, like he's going with Belgium, but he doesn't start, right? So, and it's not like big travelling. I think with the sort of Hatate, Dyson and Kyogo thing, some of those games are going halfway across the world, and it is a wee bit different, more tiring on the travelling. But I think Nicholas Kuhn, I would, if he's, unless there's anything they think that, maybe hit that back thing and maybe the pitch is adverse for that, then that could come into the reckoning. But assuming that he's feeling good, then it's a definite start. And then maybe Yang coming on for the last sort of 20 minutes or whatever, once we're 3 or 4 up, hopefully. You never know. It could be a tighter game, but yeah, I like your thinking. It's a tough game. Get yourself ahead and then make the changes.
Japan's 2 international games in this window are both away to Indonesia and China. I've been to Indonesia. That's not a good flight. It's like 18 hours or something. So yeah.
But the thing is, I suppose Furuhashi and I think Maeda sometimes gets a game, but I mean Hatate's went over there. One of the times he never even get in the second squad. They obviously have guys like Io Tanaka and all that type of stuff, but hopefully now Hatate's performing Champions League and everything, he gets a bit of recognition, because I think he's a bit of a recognition guy, if that makes sense. Like, it's bad for us if he goes there and he plays 2 games for Japan, because then he's come back and he's knackered. But he's a kind of confidence player as well, and I think that annoys him that he doesn't get in the squad and everything for Japan. Kyogo, again, he just scraped his way back in, but they've got loads of good players there. I think for this game, he starts anyway. I think 5-0 game, he was brilliant, and there's more of a trend of either starting some away games as well. And I think, Fura put in a good shift and everything on Tuesday as well. So I think it'll be Ida and, Furuhashi for the bench.
I agree. And again, when I was looking at this stretch of games, Ida's not started one of them.
Mm.
Oh no, he has. I beg your pardon. Atalanta.
Atalanta, yeah.
But except for that, Kyogo started every one of them, even the Aberdeen semi. So I
Yeah,
think Ida could get this start very comfortably. I agree there.
yeah.
Makes sense because again, like, do you know, the manager was saying, the manager and the players used to always say we take one game at a time, and they probably still actually do say that. But see, after that Dundee game, they're lying bastards because you don't prepare for. Yeah, I mean, that's not the best. That wasn't the best team to beat Dundee. And we actually needed the subs to make it happen a little bit. You
Yeah,
felt on the night. So you definitely feel that they organised the squad in segments. We can clearly see that. So this one game
yeah.
at a time pish is definitely just pish at this point.
Well, what he did
Birthday
say,
card pish.
Tony, he did say though, sorry to cut across you, but he did say that he said in the interview we'll need to use the squad for this upcoming run. So I get that, but he gave a hint there. He said we'll need to use the squad. So nobody really predicted there was going to be 6 changes, and it was too much realistically because that first half against Dundee was a bit flat and stuff, and it could have been one of those, like, if we'd have conceded for that sort of chance and everything right at the start of the game, it could have been a real sticky game or whatever, and we've seen it out, which was good. What do you think with Dyson? Do you think he's put in a lot of effort recently? Could it be a game for Yang, or maybe just start Dyson and then just manage his minutes again? Or
I don't think you can not start Dyson, but we've seen with Ida, I don't think it was also against the Atalanta, but maybe the other game he started this season, whenever it was away to Ross County. Oh yes, Kuhn and Maeda did start. I don't know why, but I had a feeling that last time he started, Forrest started. I don't know where I've got that from, but it's incorrect. But what I was also having a quick glance at there is Kyogo has only scored 1 goal in this little segment of fixtures, and it was the Aberdeen game after the international break last time. So with Kyogo getting called up, like, I also do think he does going to start, right? But is it a case that Kyogo does start and you get him his goal because he's drying up a bit goal wise, and you're talking about Hatate being a recognition guy. Kyogo is he needs to be scoring goals to be happy. You see that in him?
he scored against Aberdeen.
Yeah.
I don't think so, honestly. I think the way I'll be looking at this is how does it suit the tactics of the game. When he played either there last season, what happened was Kilmarnock are obviously in your face at home, and Celtic played a wee bit different. Sometimes they got the ball a bit forward a bit quicker, and then Ida held the ball up, and that was us past their press, if that makes sense. So if he sees that from a tactical point of view, then I think the reason he'll play Ida has nothing to do with anything else, bar he just thinks he's the right guy to play tactically in that game.
Yeah. I also forgot to mention earlier, but Gary Mackay-Steven is projected to start for Kilmarnock, which just makes it feel more like a Taylor game to me because, like, you don't need to worry about defending on that side of the pitch, do you?
Yeah.
With GMS and his fair old age that he is at the moment.
Same age as
But
me.
I've got Adam Ida on the tactic board as Ida, as if he's an iPod or something, So I think Big Ida will start as well. And yeah, I find it really hard to imagine that Forrest or Yang get into this game ahead of Dyson because Dyson's just the energy bunny. He also did play 90 minutes, but against Leipzig. And, so far looking at this team, there is only 2 changes, one enforced the centre back potentially, and Ida for Kyogo. And I did have a feeling coming in this game we might see a third change, but actually going through the squad, I can't take Dyson out of this.
Yeah, it'd be three.
And
It'd be three max.
could maybe be Valley for Taylor. This maybe fills the quota, but
yeah. I'd like to see Dyson starting again because I think he's like after that hat trick and everything in the cup, it seems he's back to be, he's buzzing again. And the thing is, he adds something when he's not even scoring because he's giving Mayo a hard time or whatever, and he's doing those types of things. And if Kilmarnock are in our face and we've not got the ball and they're getting forward, then Maeda and Kuhn playing off Aida could be a really good foil there. I guess it depends how he sees it. I mean, after the last international break, I think Dyson maybe had a wee bit of a quiet spell as well, and so he could be put down to the fact that he's doing all that travelling and everything there too.
Yeah.
So how far ahead are we looking? I think he'll just be looking at this game, and then managing the minutes, and seeing how people are when they come back, basically. That's my view on it. So I'd be really surprised to see Maeda being on the bench. But, we've got guys, if James Forrest starts, he'll not let you down. So it's not the same type of player, but like Quinity. But aye.
Well, the birthday card pish of one game at a time, the rest of it.
Aye.
So I think we go full strength, but again, I think we're going to, we need to keep marching forward, keep charging on, no two ways about it. I don't see Kilmarnock scoring in this game. I think we get the clean sheet on this one. I don't know if we can be quite as free scoring as we were against Aberdeen, but really looking at the Kilmarnock team, like McCrory in goals, they've missed Finlay as well, their key centre back, Gary Mackay-Steven, rather than who else plays normally, Armstrong.
Yeah.
Bruce Anderson starting as well. That's quite unusual to see. I think we could smash them. Like, I just don't know if we get quite as many as 6, but because of the plastic pitch, and we will take like 5 subs off at 60 minutes or something, maybe even half time or whatever. So I don't know. I would maybe go with us to win this 4-0.
Yeah, I was thinking 3 or 4. I'll maybe go 3. So a wee bit more cautious because I think that like McInnes and Kilmarnock are usually like quite up for it, and they did beat Rangers here as well. That's not saying much in terms of Rangers away forming the SPFL, but I'll go 3-0. I think we'll win. I think we're on too good form, and I hope that he doesn't mess about with it too much because we've got a lot of momentum at the moment, and I think that first half against Dundee, although we eventually got away with it, there'll be some warning signs there as well, because you remember we made loads of changes against Falkirk, and Falkirk were beating us 2-1 up until about 65 or something, and okay, we won the 5-2, but in both of those games, when we brought on the more first choice guys, that's when we've scored the goals. So I think we'll go, maybe 1-2 changes max, we'll win 3-0-ish.
A lot of good score predictions here. 2-1s, 3-1s, 5-1, 3 at half time from Catholic Rebel. Fist bump, thanks for joining us. Michael Ross thinks 3-0 to the Mighty Hoops. And the pitch maybe takes a goal or two off it, I suppose. Yeah, but yeah, I don't know. I think we smashed them. I just don't know if we can quite get the Aberdeen levels. But saying that, like, I think Mitov is a way better keeper. But again, it wasn't really the goalkeeper that was involved, the fault for the goals. It was necessarily just that we were so rampant.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I think it should be a good one. 4-0 for me, 3-0 for you.
I'll go 3-0. Yeah, I think they're a well organised team, and they've not had a vintage season so far, but it's always quite a tough game. If we do better than that, then that would be magic. But any sort of 1-0, I will take that unscathed. Be brilliant.
People forget we hammered Falkirk. Yeah, I suppose. But
yeah, eventually, yeah. Eventually,
we Sligo. And Sligo with the last minute Palma hat trick. With the B team boys.
In the last 20 minutes. But we weren't hammering them for most parts of the game. And Falkirk looked good. Fair play to them. I think they'll come up. So, they look a decent outfit as well. So that's good.
Very last thing, and we'll love yous and leave yous, guys. I did this before, and normally we do this before like teams go out and stuff like that. But I've got the SO5. I've got the Sorare lineups locked and loaded for the weekend, and I've got myself McBride up to 6 teams in the Celtic region now. Contender, 3 in-season, 3 classic. Not got a full Celtic team for the in-season ones. These are the money competitions, but going strong with the. I think he does safe. I went for him in my top team. Kuhn's in my top team really. But with Schmeichel, I went with Ida. And just in case Kuhn just... just in case Kuhn didn't, maybe, because again, it was before the deadline, before those training pictures came out, and I think I've seen some of them, but I just thought, go with Ida in the top one. And I played McKibben. I think he'll play from the bench, and he could get something, a goal or an assist from the bench late on, and that was a Division 4 lineup. It was the last team I built, so I wasn't too bothered with sliding that in. And I got my second Liam Scales today. A Celtic one finally came up super cheap. So I got that in, which is lovely. So double Scales, double Alistair Johnson for me. And then in these classic ones, I went for, you maybe see this McBride, but I went for Hatate and McGregor in 2 teams, and then alternated forwards and defenders, just to try and, if one of them, if AJ pops, I'm cool. If Scales pops, I'm cool. If Scales starts, obviously a bit of a gamble, but it felt safe at the time. And then same with Dyson and Kyogo. Kyogo probably from the bench, of course, like we were chatting about. And then Hatate forward card, a wee bit of a cheat code with just some randoms that are not Celtic related in case there's any spice in the team sheet that fucks off the rest of the lineups out. I've still got one that's not totally wrecked, unless it's a Tatty that's the bench, you know.
Yeah, I think Kilmarnock should be okay. I can see the reasoning there. Like, obviously, I'm running like some angles and stuff, but you could see there could be a scenario where maybe he just says, "Well, we'll start with Bernardo," and then Engels comes on. So I mean, that's Engels came on against Motherwell as well, but yeah, it's looking good. Obviously, Celtic's going very well at the moment as well. 3-0 win it. Motherwell delivered some good results too, and we're getting a real spell. It's a wee bit quieter one in November. We've obviously Kilmarnock away, and then you get international break, and then you've got Hearts away on the 23rd. But then after that, you're getting into like fantasy football, the thick of it. Like like maybe 10 or 11 games in the space of December to mid-January or whatever, because you've got the rearranged game for the cup finals going for the 15th into like the 14th of January or whatever. So that spell last year, it was the winter break and there was like nothing happening after maybe the 2nd, 3rd, 4th of January, but you probably got 7 or 8 games in January, I think, this season, because you got 2 Champions League games, 2 rearranged games have to be fitted in, and then you've got the Scottish Cup. So there's loads of action coming, and I am here for it, especially after this week.
2 other teams I wanted to show you, so I thought you might appreciate it. This is an under-23 team that I thought is
Nice.
quite a Celtic fantasy team, I've got Ben Doak up front, 2 fullbacks, Bernabe and Frimpong. Yeah, it's quite fun. Lennon Miller, who everyone wants to sign, obviously, captain in midfield, with Tanny, who I've been dying for Celtic to sign as a prodigy goalkeeper and goals there. So that's a wee fun one. I thought was good. And I don't know if you managed to get one of these out, but there's a competition this week called Anti-Stack, where you can't pick 2 players from the same team. I've got a full anti-stack lineup that looks like a Celtic team, but it isn't.
The Turnbull, the Bull,
Yeah.
a Jetty. I didn't end up putting a Jetty in, but I do have a Shaqiri in the team, so that's a good fixture. I like Frimpong against Bochum as well. Bochum are bottom, and they've been struggling a lot this season, so obviously they were okay at the end of last season, but they missed like Kevin Stoger's moved on and stuff like that, and they just look absolutely rancid. So they'll go down, and I think that Leverkusen should beat them. I suppose that they were a bit of a hiding against Liverpool with a 4-0 at Anfield, but you'd imagine that Leverkusen will bounce back and take a few good goals off them. So I like that selection. It's a good one, and I love that as well. That's one of the things I love about Sorare is like Celtic have got quite a lot of good young players, and now I've got Matt Riley, and I'm going to be using them hopefully soon at Brighton. He's come back for this weekend against Man City, and we Frimmers obviously is at Leverkusen. You've got Abada's playing for Charlotte and everything, and Giacomakis was injured recently, but he's obviously an option as well. So it's great just to kind of follow what they're doing, and so we beat Leipzig round you.
Giacomakis is about to win the Mexican League, isn't he? I think Cruz is over top.
I think they're doing really well. Left. Yep, definitely.
So big Jacko. But yeah, thanks to everyone that joined us live. If you watch this after we're live, fist bump to you all. Enjoy the weekend. If you're going to the game, travel safe. Do stay out of trouble. We sincerely mean that. If you've watched this after we've been live, of course, feel free to get your score predictions into the comment section of the video. Please hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. We're super close to 10,000 subs. And if you have enjoyed the video, please do smash the subscribe button. And yeah, McBride's it's been an absolute pleasure, mate. Hail, hail, won the hoops.
Enjoyed it. Brilliant week. Hail, hail. Thanks for watching, everybody.
Won the hoops.